Welcome to Home Biz Tax Talk. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady, where I help home business owners win the tax game. Home Biz Tax Talk airs Monday through Friday, and when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about topics that are important to the home business community. Okay, so I want to talk about this whole 30% thing for reserving money for your taxes. I really do get that question a lot. How much do I reserve? How do I pay myself? All those things revolving around a solo home business owner, sole proprietor, single member LLC. How does that whole paying yourself thing work along with the tax part? So I'm going to, let me answer the question first about the 30%, because usually that's where people stroke out because like, oh my gosh, that's a whole lot of money. But the truth is that it's not when it comes down to reserving your funds for taxes. So the 30% benchmark is really just that. It's a guide, okay? And really, you won't know how much you need until you actually file. So asking someone like, how much money, will I need to pay my taxes? Nobody is walking around with the magic 8 ball to be able to tell you exactly how much money that you will need. You can go to the IRS withholding calculator. They have a new one up that is way simpler than the one that they had before. And I also think it's more accurate than the one they had before. With the one, and just as an example, with the one that the IRS had before this current version, with the one that they had before, they said I was supposed to be getting an $18,000 refund, and I already knew that wasn't even close to being right because I have never gotten that much money before in my life. First of all. And secondly, when I tried the new calculator, it really was more in line with what, my tax liability and, tax refund, whatever that. It was more in line with those numbers. So I really have more faith in the current version than the previous version. So just go to irs.gov and, and look for the withholding estimator and put your numbers in. You'll need to have, if you've got a job, you'll need to have your W-2 along with any self-employment income and knowing your tax credits and such. You can put all of those things in there and, it will spit out some numbers and give you an idea of where you are, where you should be with your withholdings and all of that, so you can make some decisions. Okay. So now to answer the question, about the 30%. So here's where the number comes from. So first of all, you have the 15.3% self-employment tax, okay? That self-employment tax is what gets credited to your Social Security and Medicare. So even though like nobody likes to pay self-employment tax, that's really where it's going. So if you are going to be whining about your Social Security payments later on, I suggest you, pay that 15.3%. and be excited about it because that is what it's being credited to, your Social Security and Medicare. Okay. And then you want to figure about 10% income tax bracket for your federal income tax. Now that is separate from your self-employment. Your federal income tax is going to, it's going to take into account all of the income that is coming in your home. So whether it's W-2 income or you have, for a second job for you, or if you have a spouse that has a job, that's where that comes into all the other income. So you figure about a 10% income tax bracket for that, and then about 5% for the state. So that's where the 30% comes from. Now, if you know that you are in a higher tax bracket, then you might need to increase that number. Or, I have some people like, well, that live in one of the 7 or so states that does not have a state income tax and decide, okay, well, I don't have to save that additional 5%. Okay, great. Do you? Okay. But I usually, recommend to my home business owners when you earn your money, when you get paid from whatever your sources are, you immediately reserve 30% gross into a separate tax account. And the next question I normally get is, well, what if I save too much money? Well, if you've got too much tax money, then that gives you choices, right? Because you're able to pay your annual tax bill. If you have estimated tax payments, you really want to have money to pay that too. Simply because, when you have estimated tax payments, you have your annual tax liability that's due on April 15th, as well as your Q1 estimated tax payments that's due on the same day. So that can be a lot of checks that you're writing, right? It can be up to 4 checks that you're writing to the feds and your state government for estimated taxes. So you definitely want to have that money already reserved. And if at the end of the day you have too much tax money saved up, then you have choices. That is what you have, because you can choose to invest in your business. You can choose to give yourself a bonus. You can choose to do a lot of things with extra money, right? But the problem becomes when you don't have enough money. And that's why I say be very disciplined. And, it's not up for debate on reserving this tax money, because when you put yourself in the position to have to resolve tax debt, it's going to cost you more. It's going to cost you more in penalties. It's going to cost you more in interest. It's going to cost you more if you have to pay someone to help you deal with this. It's going to cost you more. Prevention is always cheaper than the cure. Okay? Prevention, I'm telling you, is always cheaper than the cure. So this is why I say bite the bullet and reserve this money. And if you're feeling like, well, I don't have enough money to live on, I don't have enough money to operate on, then you need to figure out how to make more money. You don't go and rob your tax account in order to fulfill other obligations. Okay? So yeah, this is really a simple thing, but you have to be disciplined. And, I also get the debate as to whether or not you reserve the 30% from your gross or from your profit. So listen, the majority of my home business owners, you don't keep up with your bookkeeping. So you have no clue how much money you have made, and you're really not watching how much money you're spending. So you don't know until you file taxes exactly what those numbers look like. So this is why I tell you, take it off the top. So then when it comes down to, filing at tax time, when you wait until the last minute, until April 15th to decide to file your taxes, then you're not having a stroke when you look at your tax bill. You can just say, oh, here we go. We write this check and we keep it moving. So I'd much rather you deal with having too much money than not having enough, because the tax resolution process is a time-consuming process and it can be an expensive process. And if you're already mad about having to pay taxes when you got to pay interest and penalties on top of those taxes because you can't pay them in the first place, then we also have a problem, right? So start to establish that discipline now. Establish the discipline of reserving 30% of your gross revenue for taxes. Set it aside in a separate tax account that is not to be touched until tax time. And then once you pay your tax bill and you paid your annual tax bill, and if you have a Q1 estimate, you've got that paid too, then you can go do whatever with whatever's left. Like I said, and someone brought up a great point. You can, oh my gosh, you can save for retirement. You can, if you want a pair of Jimmy Choos, I don't recommend that, but I'm just saying if you do, right? But you have choices when you have saved too much money, okay? That's the thing. The fact is that you have choices, but when you don't have enough money, you don't have choices. Now you're trying to figure out how you're going to deal with tax debt, and that's not where you want to be. That's all I'm saying, okay? So I really hope that helps you out. And you can, So, also at the time of this recording, here it is November. We're ending towards the end of the year. If you have not done your bookkeeping, if you have not collected your income and expenses, do it now. Do not wait until March and April of the filing season in order to get it done. Do it now, because if you figure out that you've got this massive profit, and you don't have the tax money reserved to pay the taxes on that, then you can go, you got time to figure that money thing out. It's just waiting until the last minute that, that you're then you run around stressed out, and it's just ridiculous for lack of a better term. All right. So listen, thank you guys so much for tuning into Home Biz Tax Talk. Again, we air Monday through Friday, and you can come right here to get your questions answered about your home business taxes. All right. Have a great day, and I will see you all next time. Bye.